the presence of our Secretary General and the Deputy Chairperson for our political party, UPND. This morning's announcements are very, very important, and that's the reason why we sought the indulgence of the two senior members to be with us, because the moment that we have been waiting for as a political party is dawning now, it's closing in. If you do recall, in this processes of towards 12th of August 2021, we began our journey with the requirements at law, which was intra-party elections. We're done with them all the way up to the General Assembly, and we have ushered in new leaders. We've had our maiden National Management Committee meeting, which was fully complemented with the presence of all those who were elected. In most recent times, we've had deadlines, and one of the deadlines here was the application for interested members of UPND to carry the flag of UPND in the 12th of August 2021 general elections. We've had two postponements on those deadlines for reasons that we have made public aware. And just to be reminded is to say that we faced challenges with the ECZ exams or Examination Council of Zambia in their processes of verifying documents for the credentials, the academic credentials for our candidates, and this applied to everybody. So we had to postpone it to 2nd of April 2021, which falls in the next 4 days. So we felt it prudent for us to make a public announcement to our party members that the process of selecting the flag carriers or the adoption process, simply put, is going to commence on Saturday, the 3rd of April 2021 in all the wards of this country. So this is a public announcement so that no one comes and says, I was not aware. We are going to start the adoption processes beginning with the wards, all the wards of this country. And then on the day following, which will be the 4th of April 2021, the district and the constituency, or maybe put the constituency and the district respectively, are going to also do their assessment of all the applicants who qualify to be on the UPND ballot to carry the flag for our great political party. We are hopeful that all things being equal, on the 5th, which will be on a Monday, the province must sit to check the recommendations of the wards, of the constituencies, of the districts, as well as their own. They will do the assessments on Monday the 5th, following which they'll submit all the recommendations by ranking the top three. By ranking the top three in this highly contested adoption process, and it is out of the top three that at an appropriate date yet to be announced, the ECZ will be then given the names, the official names. This is ECZ votes. You know, there's a confusion between the ECZ exams and ECZ votes. Once we have concluded the process, then we are going to publish the names of the successful candidates who are going to carry the flag of UPND in August. So that is as short and long as the announcement had to be, but then we have to take advantage of this platform for our Secretary General to also say a few words in terms of the general expected behavior. The general expected behavior from our party members. and also our candidates, that there can only be one person at a time. So without having to say what the important statement the Secretary General is going to give to guide the political party, I now take this opportunity to invite you, sir, to speak through the media to your party members, both the candidates as well as the electoral college and the general membership of our political party. Your floor.
Thank you so very much. I would like to thank you, members of the press, for this opportune time. We normally have a process which starts from the ward, constituency, and the district, going all the way to the province. But the most important thing is that the final decision of who would be candidates is done by the National Management Committee. So, in doing so, we recognize the fact that the decision of the ground, which is in this case the ward, is well respected because they are the people living with the electorates. So when they make a decision, we are seriously mindful of the fact that we are speaking to the voter. So in this case, we will respect their views, but notwithstanding the fact that we normally have intelligence and the security reports where we send independent-minded security people to go down on the ground to find out the real true picture, in trying to avoid any biases of some kind. Those people will silently walk in every given constituency and come out with a report which is silently given to the National Management Committee, and then based on that, we now come out with an announcement as already been given by Honorable Nkalingo. As we are going through this process, we are also mindful of the fact that there are certain biases and positive discrimination that we are going to take into place. And that is the gender factor. The gender factor, as per SADC recommendations, we feel the women need to be given a reasonable representation in the legislature. So, as we are going to go through this process, we will throughout each stage mindful of the fact that women must all be considered in these positions. You have seen from our conference that certain positions were reserved for women. There are certain positions where women competitively participated and won. The gaps that needed to be filled by nominations were done, again mindful of the fact that women are very important and that certain positions were filled to respond to the SADC requirement. The second one is that of the youth. We are all mindful and aware of the fact that the youth are a majority in this country. The youth are a majority in the sense that even in representation in the legislature, they must be seen to be represented. So, as we are going through all these processes, we are aware of the fact that there must be the youth representation among our candidates. And importantly so, of the people with disabilities. I like the way they put it themselves. If there's anything for us, there's anything good for us without us. So meaning, in the absence of them participating in the elections or giving them an opportunity to contest, and ultimately some will be appointed, we feel that they need that chance so that no one should be seen to be pretending to present them when they are there to speak for themselves. So, in other words, I would like to wind up by saying we are going to have a bias towards the female gender, the youth, and people with disabilities. Thank you.
Thank you for that announcement, Honorable Emenda, our Secretary General. May I now call upon Party Spokesperson, Cornelius Mweetwa, to address the press. Honorable Mweetwa.
Thank you very much, it's the rest of the ceremonies, and I'd like to thank and recognize the presence of the SG and Honorable Kombo. Dear colleagues from the media, thank you for coming once more to this briefing at the European Secretariat. I have just 2 issues that I want to speak to. Number one, the nation will recall that 2 days ago, I made a statement that I wasn't going to recontest the Choma Central seat, for which I have been a member of parliament for the last 10 years. That statement has sparked a very huge political media firestorm, and I think we all agree. People have received that announcement differently. People have accepted my decision. Others have rejected my decision. I have since had no peace whatsoever. My phone rings every day. The only other phone I think which has been, every minute. My phone had become a switchboard. The only time it wasn't ringing was when it was off. And people have taken advantage of that statement to describe me. Some have said that I wasn't contesting because I have lost ground in Choma. Far from it. Others have said I have been bought by PF. How can I be bought by PF when rejected to be bought over butane? Others have seen on PF, run media, speculation. No, he's being reserved for running men for HH. We don't work like that in the UPND. If you have a checklist, look at our NMC, you will find national representation. Ask PF, look at their cabinet, their PSs, and let them tell you who those ministers and the PSs and the people they are appointing. No national representation. That is one of the things you want to cure when you form the next cabinet. Others have even stated that I am not contesting because I have no grade 12 certificate. So many names. I'm tired. I thought I needed to come back and clarify my position, the people. And wish to report that I have since received petitions from chiefs, not just of Choma or Southern Province, in this country. I have received petitions from UPND members across the country. You saw yesterday, people were thinking I'm at my home in Choma. They went there, headmen, members of the party, especially youth, even giving me an ultimatum to rescind my decision. I received calls from the diaspora, colleagues who we have been waging a war on corruption with, spoke to me. The women movement spoke to me because in Parliament I'm the chairperson for the Men's Network on Gender Equality. Civil servants at large, because as a former police officer, when I'm in Parliament, I speak for police. And as a former teacher, when I'm in Parliament, I speak for teachers. And as a lawyer, when I'm in Parliament, I speak for lawyers. And as a politician, I speak for all Zambians in that Parliament. Young politicians who want to aspire to become councillors, mayors, and members of Parliament petitioned me. I have since received wise counsel from senior citizens, statesmen who summoned me, like VJ, Venon Mwanga, he summoned me. People like Honorable Norman Chibamba, the former MP for Shiwangani, he summoned me and sat me down to explain what necessitated the decision, what was the stimulus. And I think that I had made it very clear that the reason I wanted to step aside was because I wanted to be at the center campaigning for HH. Honorable Chibamba and VJ, among other people who are well-versed in politics and experienced, put one statement which affected me very clearly. And this statement appears to be resonating with everyone who has petitioned me. They have said, we need people who can hold their ground in Parliament. And they said, you are one of them, just like Honorable Nkombo, among others. And have made one very important issue or observation, which I have agreed with them, because I've been left with no option. They are saying you cannot leave Parliament at a time HH is forming government. And because of the reasons that people have given, and I've also understood that one of the things that makes the work of a member of Parliament difficult when you're in the opposition is because people expect you to deliver development when in fact you can't, when you're under a government like PF. HH has told this nation that when he becomes president, CDF, I think Honorable Combo, HH has said CDF will be 5 million per constituency, isn't it? If my memory is right. So therefore, now that HH is winning, CDF will be $5 million. It will be easier for one to be a member of Parliament. And I believe this is not just going to advantage members of Parliament of the UPND, across, because we do not expect that we should have only UPND members of parliament across the country. That can kill democracy. You need opposition so that they are able to advise you where they feel you are not doing what is right. I therefore have come to state that I have today, Tuesday, here at the party secretariat, due to public pressure, rescinded my decision not to contest today. And my campaign machinery will roll into Choma very soon. But again, people have told me, don't worry about campaigning here, the campaign is over. You will continue with HH, here you have already won. So I agree with the people. People have also maintained that this is not time to change MPs anyhow. Yes. They have said where you must change an MP now in UPND, there must be a compelling reason. Yeah. Not personal reasons like the one I had. Yeah. Yes. Compelling reasons. Because HH and UPND, through the UPNDC alliance, are forming the next government. So I wish to end this speculation where people have been calling me all sorts of names. And also take advantage to thank everyone who expressed their views. I've learned a lot. I also want to thank my colleagues in the PF, some ministers, members of parliament, who took time to make a phone call and rejected my decision. I think this is the way it should be. That when we differ politically on ideology, we still have the interest of the nation together. I'm left with no choice but to bow to public pressure. So please spare my phone now. I do other things. I want now to continue campaigning for HH in the manner I wanted, given that the people of Choma have told me that there will be no need for me to campaign there. So those who are giving me ultimatum, I have bowed to your ultimatum. Because when you are a leader, you must do what people want, not what you want. Yes. And it is our tradition as UPN to listen to the people. That is why in 2016, when the people said they don't want a referendum to tamper with the Bill of Rights, we went flat out and we defeated PF. The people said, no, we don't want Zambia to be removed from the International Criminal Court. Again, we campaigned and defeated PF on that referendum. The people said, we don't want butane. We rejected their money, and butane collapsed against all odds and against their money. People have said they don't want the cyber security law. HH has committed to come and review that, repeal it. Leadership should be people demand-driven, not what you want. I hope I have clarified that position, because this has really haunted me the last 2 days. So I've said, look, where we are now, it's like a team, a national team has qualified to the World Cup, and then you want to go and play the World Cup final. Then some senior players started, quitting the national team. You demoralize the supporters. So I don't want to demoralize anyone. I will run for the Choma seat, and hopefully, no one should change and begin to ask me to go and campaign when they told me that they don't need me to campaign there. Because my agenda, like our agenda as UPN, is clear. Form the next government. To retrieve people from the jaws of poverty, corruption, maladministration, violation of human rights. We do have, as we speak, today is day 10 or day 11 Honorable Sejani and 3 others, the mayor for Choma, the mayor for Mazabuka, remain in detention without a charge. And police are mum about it. They are quiet. We know it's not police. It's PF. We are disturbed about that situation that our colleagues find themselves. But I want to report that yesterday, our legal team did serve the Attorney General and Zambia Police the habeas corpus documents for the matter that our team applied for in Livingston, for Zambia Police to produce the bodies of Honorable Sejani and 3 others before itself on the 13th of April. That situation is disturbing. But we know the cost of forming government. And our colleagues who are in detention are upbeat about it. They are in very high spirits. It is people who are outside who are, others are concerned. Others are calling for demonstration. Say, no, we know what they are looking for. They are looking for force. Shall not play in their hands. The last issue, the media may know, and the nation by now knows, that right about now, a few minutes ago, the former spokesperson of the UPND, Honorable Charles Kakoma, who is now the former chairperson for commerce and industry in the UPND, has left the UPND to join PF. I have had the occasion to be guided by the Secretary General here and other leaders to say the following: that we as UPND would like to take this opportunity to thank Honorable Charles Kakoma for the time he dedicated service to the people of Zambia through the platform of UPND. He was a member of parliament for Zambezi West constituency on the UPND ticket. He served the people of Zambezi West and the people of Zambia diligently. We value his contribution to the growth of the UPND to where it is now, where it is poised to form the next government in the next few months. So we encourage our supporters out there not to engage in name calling. We think that we should begin to move on as a country to do the correct politics. The Zambian constitution, I think it is in terms of Article 20, guarantees each citizen's right to belong to an association or a grouping of their choice. He has been a UPND member for 22 years now. And maybe, now I'm speaking my views now because I've taken over from the position he previously held. Sometimes, let us also accept. When you get tired, you can move on. It's possible. Because PF is finished. But we understand the circumstances obtaining in this country, colleagues. It's not a joke to be in the opposition. It's tough business. The economy is not performing. If money is dangled, weak souls will collapse for that. They will go for such cheap carrots. You have to be resolved. You must know that the country needs change to remain resolved the way we are in the UPND. People out there are suffering. And for my elder brother, Honorable Charles Kakoma, everyone knows that in 2011, he won on the UPND ticket a third term, I think, a third term, to be a member of parliament for 3 terms on the UPND ticket. It is amazing. What did PF do? They petitioned him that he had donated a hammer mill during campaigns in 2011 and nullified his seat. Hence his current vulnerability. They caused it. They are in a business of making people vulnerable, then they say, come, here is money. They collapse the economy, then they start going now to markets, to dish money to people, because people are suffering. We must put an end to this kind of politics in Zambia, and UPND has come of age to do just that. We wish our brother Honorable Kakoma well in PF, and I've already heard comments from youth here that look, maybe that's the reason when he was party spokesperson, he wasn't talking.
Yes.
That's the reason.
Yes.
He was bought, maybe he was bought.
Long time ago. It was a sellout.
He was just there to receive information, hide it, so that the party doesn't grow. And maybe that's the reason the president did not give him that position again. There was information that is a sellout. Let us not use that language. He played his part for the UPND. Let us not use that language. The Zambian is free to choose what he thinks is right. 22 years of dedication in the opposition should be valued. For us as UPND, we value the people who have made UPND to be what it is today. He's one of them. I thank you very much, dear colleagues.
All right, at this juncture, we'll take questions from your colleagues from the media. Tell us your name, the media house will be presenting, and to whom your question is directed. Please. Say a hand.
Good morning. Maybe just a follow-up question to what you said.
Your name and your media house.
Msada TV, David Daka. Maybe just a follow-up question. When you said the seat was petitioned by the PM, that led to the seat being modified, and are you saying the man has been voted? And is this defection a sign of the party weakening?
Any other question? We take a set of 3 questions each. Madam there.
I just want to find out I'm interested to know about persons with disabilities. You know, if so that they will not cry foul after that, maybe they will not be adopted. I just want to find out if the application process, you have the number of them, and how many do you have in the National Management Committee? And then on the selection of who you finally adopt, I'm aware that the Alliance partners, the NBC and the others, just how are you going to consolidate the successful parties that you are going to represent to the people? I know you have talked about criteria that you are going to use, popularity and other things. I just want to get that.
Okay, now that Pamela has asked 2 questions, I think Honorable Kombo and Honorable Mweetwa can take the questions as they came in respectively. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, and I'll be very quick on the question of the issue of Honorable Kakoma's departure. I think we've actually dealt with that issue. It is a constitutional right to belong to a particular political party of your choice that you may think you will serve your interests. So, we don't know the interest that Honorable Charles Kakoma wants to serve. Like I was saying, we don't want speculation. You know, when you are in leadership, you don't play around with people. You begin to imagine things that are not possible. The bottom line is that Honorable Charles Kakoma has a right to join PF. The same way, a lot of people who voted for PF in 2016 have since moved on. They are now with the UPND because it's forming the next government. You also recall that in 2016, in 2011, I think it was 22 MPs of PF, MPs, 7 MPs, left PF because it was in the opposition. They went to join MMD. Did that save MMD? MMD lost because government is not formed by MPs or individual political leaders. Government is formed by the people. We are with the people. This 2021 battle will be the people versus PF. UPND is just a platform. There could be other people who might still join PF. Don't worry. We've seen this before. It doesn't change the decisions of the people. Well, are you telling me that Zambians want change because Honorable Koma was in UPND? No. It is because of our superior manifesto, the ideas that we stand for, that has seen UPND to be the only genuine party which can remain in opposition 22 years now, no shaking. People have come and go. People have come. Some have died. But we know what we want to achieve at the end of the day. So these are just small things. Don't worry. We are on course because we know what the people want. They want change.
Thank you, Pamela. I think that the SG was very clear in his statement that we will have a bias towards the people who are disabled. We will have a bias towards people who are enjoying a female gender. We are also going to have a bias towards people who are youthful. This does not go without saying that there will be a due diligence intelligence report that will come, which will determine the following. The applicant's loyalty to the party is of paramount importance. People will not be adopted simply because they are disabled. They have to have a track record of having been committed to the cause of the political party. So there are benchmarks towards. This is not a wholesale statement that whoever is disabled, this is the time for you. We will have to look at those indices, and primary among them is one's commitment to the cause that we are trying to fight for. We also think that stability will be determined by this due diligence report. You know, we suffered a lot of consequences of not being careful how we choose candidates, especially in Western Province. You know very well that PF are dangling carrots to everyone and taking advantage of people who are subjects of poverty. So we are being extremely careful that we do not get people who are going to be fly-by-nights, that we adopt them today, they win tomorrow, and the next day they're given X amount of money and then they subject us to more by-elections, because we think that this country deserves a lot more attention than having unnecessary by-elections, and the experience is the best teacher. We experienced unnecessary by-elections, and that's the reason why it is a tough call to choose leaders, and so we commit from our end that we're going to give positive discrimination to people who are living with disability, but who are proof of loyalty and commitment to the political party. That goes for the youths, that goes for the both sectors, men and women. We are not just going to wake up and because once bitten, twice shy. We have suffered a lot of PF manipulation where they go and offer money to people in order for them to play their song. I think that's sufficient response to you. There's a due diligence report that is coming to check all the candidates who are going to apply, to see their social standing, not so much economic standing because it doesn't matter anymore. Everyone is wallowing in poverty today. But the social standing with people, the behavior is all going to be part and parcel of the assessment sheet.
Thank you very much. And maybe just a last one, with the permission of Chairman Elections, that we have at the UPND headquarters received disturbing reports of the commencement of the voter verification process beginning on a rather chaotic note. We have been informed in some places, and I'll just pick one as an example, at Namalundu Primary School in Kafiwe Gorge, that people who are going to verify their details, so biometrics, there's only those beginning from A to M surnames. The rest are not there. These discrepancies should not be entertained by the Electoral Commission of Zambia. We think that they need to address such issues quickly. We do not want a repeat of 2016 where many people were defranchised by way of going on the voting day only to be told that you are not a voter here. The system shows that you are voting 20 kilometers from there, and many people didn't vote. That should not be entertained. There is also a concern that we have to place at the doorsteps of the ECZ, the Electoral Commission of Zambia, on two fronts. Number one, the Constitution of the Republic of Zambia has defined in very clear and categorical terms qualifications of standing as member of parliament, councillor, mayor, and so on. So where is the Electoral Commission of Zambia finding this law to say, for one, to contest additional to the grade 12 certificate, you need a letter from Examination Council of Zambia certifying you as such. That's unconstitutional. So these discretions should be exercised judiciously and reasonably. People are now saying this is a gimmick by PF because they are not funding ECZ sufficiently. They have to use a crooked way to siphon money from unsuspecting candidates just for you to get a letter. They are charging, I think, 30 kwacha. Yes. You drive from Kafiwe, like the Honorable Nkombo who stays somewhere this side in Shimabara. He has to go to ECZ. First, before he goes to ECZ, he has to pay a toll gate, 20 kwacha. You go now, next you pay ECZ a 30 kwacha for a letter. All the documents to be done is more than 100 kwacha. So in a day, you are giving government 200 kwacha. This government, sure. That issue we think that should be addressed by ECZ. And also, the announcement or the rule they have put to say candidates should go and pay at the bank when you want to contest the elections. Nomination will be somewhere mid-March, mid-May. But Electoral Commission of Zambia want candidates to go and pay nomination fee beginning 1st May to 9th May, even before dissolution of parliament. Now that can cause a constitutional crisis, because assume that a member of parliament of PF wants to contest 2021 election on the winning ticket, UPND. But parliament has not been dissolved, and he goes to pay to lodge him as a candidate. It means he must stop going to parliament, but parliament will not have been dissolved, because if he goes there, his seat will be nullified. The same way Honorable Gamuli's seat was nullified. That no, he has crossed the floor. The same way GBM was hounded out. You recall? So the ECZ should be looking at these things and not create an unnecessary, debate. I think for now we have said too much. Thank you very much for coming. Have a good day.
Well, we have since written a letter to that effect to the ECZ to make sure that they rescind the decision or at least revisit it.
Thank you very much, Honorable Imenda and Honorable Nkombo and our spokesperson, Honorable Cornelius Mweetwa, for addressing the press. Thank you very much, members of the press, for joining us.